You'll remember this game. It was very popular about 8 years ago. Your family tree is the same game. Here you are. You aren't counted. Here is the first generation of your ancestors, and the people live in it, your father and mother. Here's your second generation. 4 of your ancestors live in the same time. Dads and moms of your dad and mom. Yeah, wait. Where was I going with that? That if we keep going up and up. Then in 1515 year, only our ancestors would have numbered 537 million people, which was 1.5 times more than the world population in the same period. We scroll further and see that in the 14th generation we would have had this number of ancestors. There were more than in world history. We know so much and so little at the same time. How is this possible? 1 trillion people live at the same time. You know, we made a mistake somewhere, and in fact, our families are much more complex than you imagine. Is it true that all people are brothers? Where did the first man appear? When did the real Adam and Eve appear on Earth? What does the common ancestor of all living things? And who were to our genes? See what the correct family tree. And here is the tree. The family consists of cousins, already 2 ancestor-less. Even such genius as Einstein and Darwin married their cousins. Yes, but why did the siblings live with each other? I will tell you more. Anthropologists have calculated 18% of all marriages in history were between cousins or even closer relatives. This is a shame, and you know why? Because they didn't have bicycles. No matter how funny it sounds, but you can go far from your village on foot. And not everyone could afford to buy a horse. In England, an experiment showed that marriage between relatives failed. When everyone bought bicycles, a similar story was on the islands, until they started selling to other islands. They were looking for women from middle relatives. You know, the further we go into the past, the more relatives we have. It's something like that as in a dense forest, the higher the tree that goes up the mountain, the more branches it will be connected to other trees. And here's a computer model for 2 random people. Somehow very confusing. Now I will explain. Here are 2 people living in a region with a population of 100,000 people. We look at their roots, and in the 9th generation we find that there are already 5 ancestors, and after 5 generations there are more than 3,000 of them. The mathematical model shows that the family trees of all Europeans converge at the mark of 1000 AD, which is about 30 generations ago. And it turns out that all people with European roots, Slavs, Germans, French and most Americans, are connected with the royal families of Europe before 1000 years. Habsburg Germany, Rurikos, Kievan Rus, present-day Ukraine, Karling and others. And now more interesting fact. Scientists have taken DNA from different peoples on all continents and built a model mutation pathway for all of humanity. We can see the road along which ancient people inhabited the planet. It shows how the Slavs go to Europe. But how the Kazakhs stopped in Asia? They had a long way to go. And here is the answer to how the ancient people got to America. They crossed the ice on foot during the Ice Age, and you can even find Adam and Eve. If you trace where they come from, we'll find that Adam lived in Africa, and Eve also, but they never even meet, because they lived in different times, from 115 to 100,000 years ago. Moreover, they were not the people of that time, just the chain of descendants from other people was broken. For example, it was broken because of illness, and here I was childless. Adam and Eve, the descendants, have reached the present time. You know, these are the key points from which we can trace the history of all mankind, but can we dig big even deeper and learn about our first ancestors? Let's try to find them by 3 characteristics. The hominid triad is a sign of uprightness walking. The hand, developed brain, Let's find who all this came from. The first Homo sapiens, Rudolphian man. His brain is twice as large as that of Australopithecus. But otherwise, the same furry primate. He doesn't have a skillful hand and uprightness. Also, he is a Homo on the passport, but not a real. Let's move on. A skilled man. Why skillful? Because he knows how to make stone tools to kill or cut meat, but this is still not the same. Then a hardworking man. He learned how to make fire. And now we have a Homo erectus man upright. He has all the science we need, and from that moment the beginning of mankind is considered, but it wasn't in fact, it was a passing stage. You know, it's similar to the Taisei paradox. If you change one detail in an object, it is unclear at what point it will cease to be unoriginal and turns into a new one, a human being. Yes, it's a cool man, at the top of civilization, and all the others great apes are catching up with him. So, if you give them time, they will soon become people too. No, that's not a new trailer for the movie Planet of the Apes. It's also very cool. Just remember those pictures of how the apes evolved and what they did. And it's all a joke, so let's get back to the topic. This game will give us the answer to all questions. Why apes aren't turning into humans now? We just need to go back 15 million years. Then there was a proconsul, the closest ancestor of human, and all monkeys in Asia and Africa, where the jungle was dying from the climate. They had to get down from the tree, and those were not harmed stayed further on the branches and evolved into modern monkeys. But we just parted ways with them at some point, and they are comfortable there. So do not wait for the moment that they evolve, and will live like humans, clean up, walk straight. And now who is our ancestor? So let's go. This is Jeremiah, who lived 116 million years ago. This is our common ancestor, with also those who give birth and feed with milk. And he is a Gillonimus, who lived 315 million years ago. It has similar genes, not only with us, also with dinosaurs and reptiles. And even further, in our family tree, fish pop up if we have unique footage of fish coming to the surface to the orchestra. Let's see this. Tiktaalik, the first creature to come to land. And even with corals and sea sponges, we have a common relative, the Chonoflangellate, and he moves just as fast. Such a spry guy. This bacterium is the ancestor of all living things that appeared a billion years ago. You are looking at a completely evolutionary tree, or tree of life. If a special change in genes, when it adapts to new condition, a new branch comes from it. We are also part of the tree. Here is the very end. For example, we are related to a bird. Her name is American robin, our common ancestor, and the bird itself is our 139 million sister, but the pine tree is our 2.9 billion sister. Imagine a pine tree is relative of ours. I will even tell you more. Living things on Earth have one common relative. And his, in cells, they just have a nucleus, and they all came from one creature, who is the ancestor of a living things, and what it looks like is unknown. Scientists have called it Luca, as in the last universal common ancestor it considered of from just one cell. Unfortunately, its remains supply don't exist anymore. It is also not found in organisms and genes, because they simply became extinct in the course of evolution. But one thing is certain, that it fed on hydrogen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide and metals. There was a lot of sulfur around it, and it was protected from high temperatures. The places where it was found, and now on Earth are hydrothermal vents. Near these places similar bacteria to Luca. Yes, we might go to very bottom of evolution to find out who we are, but there is another interesting theory. The genes are related to each other, and we are just people, cats, moths, and other different species on this planet. and that we are just tools that allow bunches of genes to have offspring in the form of few genomes. The next video